Hello to my party people out there in Radio Land. I got my sound better. So, yeah, you can hear me now. I hope you can hear me the last couple of weeks too, because I ain't re-recording that stuff. But yes, and I hope it's not too loud now. I'm like super nervous because of the other ones. But if it's too loud, just turn down your volume. Yeah, so all right, so this week's topic, life is a maze. Life is a maze. So, life is a game. I'm sure I've talked about that at some point. I'm kind of getting my topics mixed up because I write a lot. Um, and I know I wrote about this, but I don't know if I actually recorded a transmission about this topic. Um, but nevertheless, I'm sure somewhere along these videos or wherever you're hearing this, I talk about life is a game, right? The nature of games are fun, right? So, life is a maze. So, this is why I say it's a maze, right? Because the whole purpose of a maze is to start far away from your origin, far away from who you are, where you're trying to get to, right? And to weave through obstacles and dead ends, blockages, right? Sometimes clear passageways in order to return to center, right? With the maze, you're usually trying to get back to the center, or maybe some mazes you're trying to get to the other side, right? Or maybe top, right? Depending on the way that the maze is drawn, right? You're either trying to get to the center, you're trying to get to the other side, you're trying to get to the top, or you're trying to get to like a graphic, like some cheese or something. But either way, you're trying to return, you're trying to get to something, right? You're trying to almost return to self, right? That is the whole point of going through that maze, right? That's the whole point. The twists, the turns, the surprises, they all entice you to continuing to play the game, right? Because a maze is, in essence, it's a game that you play, right? You play it for fun because whatever is at the end, even if the end is just making it out, right? That was deep. Even if the end, even if there is no object that you're after, if it's just making it out, you go into the maze for the sheer experience, just to see if you can make it out, just to prove to yourself that you can make it out, right? Just to see where the pathways will lead, where the blockages will be, how you'll get out, right? For almost the drama of it, right? Like, let's see what's gonna happen. So, as you are able to choose the level of difficulty of the maze that you choose to partake in, it's the same with life, right? That's why you have some people who have seemingly unsurmountable obstacles in life. Like, I realized this with one of my good friends from years ago. Like, we both had similar backgrounds. Both came from the same environment, the hood, blah blah blah. But it just seemed like her. We started life like with a higher level, different level of difficulty. I just always felt that, even before I started going through this awakening, even before I was into the spiritual stuff, like, is this deep, like on a conscious level? Because I always kind of been in the clouds, but it's like I always felt like, dang, like the obstacles that will come. And of course, we create our reality. So in retrospect, some of the things she created, like, okay, we all create certain situations in our lives, and some things come, to teach us things. But there were some situations that I would just be like, she didn't create that. Like, this ain't, and it was just a nagging knowing, like, she chose these obstacles, like, just like I chose my obstacles. Like, she chose a harder level of difficulty. And that's why I rocked with her, right? In this life, because we were both like, get her done, right? Any obstacle, anything, I'll make it work, right? That was her phrase. I'll make it work, right? And it's the same with me. Like, we just never let anything stop us, no matter what it was about. We was always like, make it work, people. You know, in terms of everything, fun, in terms of life. Like, oh, you only got this much. Oh, I'll make it work, right? So, knowing that, and knowing that there are no losers in life, right? You cannot, life is a game that you cannot lose. And if I spoke about this exact thing before in a transmission, I apologize because, again, I know I wrote these things, but I don't know if I've ever spoken them and recorded them. So life is a game that you cannot lose, right? You cannot lose. There's nothing you can do. You only need to open up a book, a browser, whatever, to see, you know, somebody overcoming an amazingly, you know, difficult circumstance. And I know I talked about that before because I used Maya Angelou and some other people. I think Gabby Douglas and Simone Biles, like their lives, and how when you stand back, you're like, it was written for them to overcome that. Like, they could have let those obstacles hold them back, but the fact that all these things went wrong, it was almost like a recipe for greatness. Excuse me. So, seeing that and knowing that anything at any point in time is able to be, you know, overcome, and knowing that death does not exist, right? That there's no such thing. Your energy never dies. Energy cannot be created or destroyed, right? It just changes forms. I talked about that with ice and water and steam, right? And it's just a circle. Ice never dies, right? So we can't die. We're energy. So knowing that death is not a punishment, and that you can also choose to die, right? You choose when to transition. You choose to leave the game, right? Just like a maze. When you pull it all together, you also consider the fact that, you know, as they say, we live in a holographic universe, right? None of that stuff is real. I won't even get into that today because I'm on a whole nother level. Like, nothing, the stars, the moon, that stuff is not real. It's not real. And I love science. I have awards in science, but I now know that these things aren't real. But knowing these things, knowing that there are things that our eyes cannot perceive that other animals can see, knowing that there's so much around us that we cannot see. There's no such thing as empty space. You know, knowing that there are vibrations, there's heat, there, you know, are electromagnetic waves and frequencies that are all around us, i.e. look at Wi-Fi. How are two computers connect and communicate? And, you know, and you say, oh, it's Wi-Fi. You give it no thought except to think like, wait, what are they using to talk? How are they connected? It's the same thing, right? It is a game. Life is a game. It's not real. You go to sleep, you feel like you're awake, and then you wake up and it's like, where did I go, right? Where did I go? Who was watching me while I was asleep? So, again, I'm just trying to throw all that out there because those are all the little tidbits that I used when I spoke about life being a game and death not existing before, to lead up into the whole thing that life is, the specific type of game that life is. It's a maze, right? You can say an experiment of sorts. Well, that's the same thing because, an experiment of sorts, I'm sorry. Because what do we do? What, as humans, in our small understanding of our vast world, our universe, when we want to do experiments with animals, with mice, where do we put them? In a lab. And with what? A maze, right? To see how it's gonna, you know, we study the cognitive functioning of mice and other animals and things like that, but we put them in a maze, we put them at a starting point, we see if they can get out, we see what it takes for them to get to the object that they want, if it's in the middle, we time them. That's all it's about, right? The micro is a macro and vice versa, right? Vice versa. The planets look like the cells of our body. That's not a coincidence, right? It's not real, right? It is a game. It is a game. It is a game. It is a game, right? So, again, we can stop playing it at any time. And that is what transitioning looks like, right? You may be overcome with the obstacles. You know, you may not be able to see your way out, and you just don't want to do it anymore. Some, you know, souls that just don't want to do it anymore. It's a game, right? So, that being said, there are rules that must be adhered to, right? Same as with any game, and that's what we call gravity and time and things like that, which we have created because those are the rules of the game, to put us all on a quote-unquote level playing field. Oh, air quotes, they're back. And some rules which must be broken or bent, just like in, in regular games, in the game of life, in the game of life. That was corny, roll with it. But these things, the universe puts these reminders in our path to show us not to take it too seriously, right? Whenever I try to take life too seriously, it backfires in my face every single time. Whenever I'm too focused on money or getting things accomplished or, being quote unquote serious or an adult or in the real world, the universe literally knocks me down, like, to show me, like, no, this is not why you came here. This is not it. There's more to life. Like, no, you're here to play. You're here to have fun. You're here to just be, right? Don't take it too seriously. It is a game. It is a game, right? So I want to wrap this up. But as with any game, any maze, any game you want to win, and sometimes you do it just for fun, right? So that's life. And as with any maze, you start at the beginning and you try to find your way back home, back to who you really are, back to the source and the essence of your being, right? What you came here as before the obstacles, before the other physical, quote unquote, again, my air quote's hot tonight, to get back to that, right? To get back to your true essence, your true self, to remember your creator, despite the obstacles and the uncertainties that are an inevitable part of every maze ever created. And that's all I got. So this one ran a little bit long. But that's it. Life is a maze, baby. It's it. Go play. Go jump in some leaves. Go do something random, something fun. Like, it's all a game anyway. You can't lose. Thank you for listening. Have a great week. Love, live, light, laughter. Bye.